Welcome to the It's Not Me, It's You podcast.
A space where we explore the questions couples often avoid in their relationships.
Not the easy ones, the uncomfortable ones that sit quietly under the surface.
Before we chat, a quick note. If you're somebody who finds these conversations helpful, but still notices the same patterns showing up in your life or relationships,
We've opened up a small number of private reflection sessions. Check the link for details.
also, just to say that there is no right and wrong here.
This is simply an opportunity for us and you to travel through the tougher questions that come up from time to time.
The ones we're often too afraid to ask. And if you've found your way here and you're enjoying the conversations, please subscribe, share the podcast, and turn on notifications.
So you don't miss future episodes. Also, feel free to drop your questions below.
And we'll do our best to explore them.
Now let's go.
What is the most traumatic thing you've experienced, and how are you healing from it?
That's a bit deep, isn't it?
It is. We're here for the real questions.
No, in all seriousness, this is the first question I
Mhm.
asked on that viral post
Mm-hmm.
about, questions we must ask in a relationship. And it came about because we're always having conversations. like
Always,
this.
always having these.
And whether or not it's clients or friends or other
Mhm.
people that have come to us, this is just going back to trauma. Have you actually sat down and asked, what kind of things have you gone through in your life? What kind of things have you experienced?
Right, 100%.
And I remember asking this as one of 5, and the comments went off. It was crazy. It was just like, who do you think you are? You're not a therapist. I didn't say I was a therapist. I'm saying if you can't have an open conversation
Mhm.
with someone you're having a serious relationship with, you're going to get a mortgage with, you're going to have children with, you're going to live with, share families with. Like, if you can't ask those questions.
Literally grow old together.
Right.
You need to have that level of conversation. And I remember you shared that with me at the time, because these comments and the reel was popping off. It's got like over 3 million views, and people were appreciative of it, but also getting really angered by it. And it was really interesting to see, because clearly it's hitting a nerve somewhere. And we're not saying you need to, go into all these, everyone that you ever meet, have these really deep, meaningful conversations. But when it is people particular in your life that you are seeking to build with, you need to have this level of conversation.
Absolutely. What happens is sometimes I've noticed, and you may have noticed, people then go on to have children,
Mm-hmm.
have a real serious entanglements.
Entanglement.
Okay, maybe not in that way, but they're connected financially.
That's a whole other
A
question.
whole other question. But they're connected in so many ways.
Right.
And then they want to ask, why is it this person's like this?
Mm-hmm.
When if early on in the relationship they just sort of said, where are you with the healing process?
Yeah.
What happened and what can we do to, what are you doing to move forward from that place? Then maybe things will be different.
Exactly.
We all carry something.
100%. We all do. It's impossible not to, especially with, when you get to certain times of life, you even have more life experience, whether it is, divorce or children, complicated upbringings, difficult childhoods. Healthy childhoods can still have an impact on you, because how we grow up and how we are brought up, everything has an impact on us, and it might serve you at the time, but not anymore going forward when you want different things, or you're meeting new people, or you're trying to progress your relationship. So it's all about getting to the root cause of what is really going on. So I think this is a great question. And we did have, lots of levels of this conversation when we first started going out.
Absolutely. So what's your answer to this question? What would your partner say?
Mhm.
And if you feel like it's something you'd like to ask, all the best with that, and let us know how you get on.
Absolutely. And you could even rephrase it. If traumatic is going to be a word that you think, wow, that's a bit heavy, just what's the most difficult thing you've been through? What's the most challenging thing you've been through? It's all about communication and tailoring for your audience. If traumatic is a bit much,
For your audience, how many partners you got?
well, that's another question.
That's a whole other question.
But the next part of that question is, and how are you healing from it?
How are you healing?
How are you healing from it?
Yeah.
Are you just aware of it? Are you not healing at all? Just having that tiny inkling of a conversation, does that mean that that's enough and you're good? Are you actually going to see a therapist? Are you able to speak to your partner about it? Because also just talking about these things can be really healing in itself.
I'm glad you mentioned the whole thing about therapy. Of course, there's lots of stigma still around going to therapy and so on. Some people they think they can't afford it as well. And that's a whole different thing,
Mm-hmm.
because your health, your mental health, the health of the relationship is priceless.
Mhm.
You know, so how are you investing in the health of your relationship? But outside of that, I've also noticed some people tend to go to a friend
Mm.
and it's like, oh, this is going on in my relationship. And it's the worst thing when it's a single friend who has no partner or is, you know, doing some stuff that is not
Mhm.
the same as what you're trying to achieve with your marriage, with your serious relationship. And we have to be so careful about where we do go for advice, right?
Yes, exactly. And that comes back to, you know, one of the old sayings like, don't ask advice from somebody who you wouldn't trade lives with. Don't ask for relationship advice from your single friend or friends who don't have the experience of relationships. You know, I'm not saying that they're bad for advice, but I'm saying it might not be the level of advice that you need in that moment. They might just say, just get rid of them, get rid of that person, just come out with me and let's keep on. Like, men are rubbish anyway. Women are all nightmares anyway. Like, it keeps you stuck in that mindset. Whereas these kind of questions, when you're in a relationship, are vital to be able to move forward and actually get to know your partner more, get to know yourself more as well, and figure out exactly where you're going wrong, what might be the stumbling block, and how you can move forward and actually heal from your past. We should all heal from it. We're all able to heal from it. Sometimes we go through difficult things and we think that's it for us because of the stories we tell ourselves that keep us in that loop of, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, all of those things. But they're just stories. And you can always change the story once you get real and get honest about what it is that is really holding you back. Who influenced you growing up? This is a great question.
And this is connected to the whole thing around trauma.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because, you know, who you're around the most
Mm-hmm.
is going to influence you, may have been the basis of the trauma that you experienced.
Exactly. Yeah.
And, you know, and you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So until you find ways to become aware of what you went through,
Yeah.
how are you going to figure out where you want to get to?
Absolutely. And like you've just said, influence can be who you were around that made your childhood a bad thing, as you perceive it to be a negative thing because of what you went through, or it can be really positive. But also, you might have had a really bad upbringing where you know for a fact you do not want to be like that person. And that's great awareness. So that would shape your whole influence and going forward in how you want to be with your partner, with your children, as a friend, just as a person in the world.
Absolutely. I've noticed with a lot of the clients I've worked with, they're still trying to please parents. You know, they're successful adults doing great in business
Wow.
and so on, but they're still working hard and not thinking they're doing enough because mum didn't see them when they were a kid. Dad disappeared, and so they felt like they weren't worthy, felt rejected, felt like they have to spin cartwheels and do backflips every 10 seconds to get attention.
Yeah.
And it's not true. They're sitting on so much value. They are just by breathing. And it takes so much time to recognize that if you started it from a place of, I'm not seen, I'm not valued. And when you can find a way to recognize yourself and recognize how far you've come, it really can make a difference.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, this whole thing around influence, and it's not just family. It's
exactly.
like your friend group. You know, if you're, you know, let's keep it real, like men as well, especially have this very cutting sense of humor. It's how we test each other, see how we, you know, our resolve and that kind of stuff when we're faced with challenges. But if all you're doing is negative and critique and coming for your friends and it's especially
I felt that one.
especially from a young age.
Yeah.
A couple of things happen, right? You start to think that's love. You start to confuse this critique, this negative a way of interacting as, oh, that's how they love me. So when someone is loving and warm, you get suspicious. Like, what are you after? Like, what do you want? No.
And you think that person's too nice. What's wrong with that person? Because that's like some people that chase the bad boys, you know, that kind of thing. And I never really understood that because I'm like, it's treating you like an idiot. Why do you want that? But if you haven't had certain things growing up, you just gravitate to what feels normal on a subconscious level.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great question. Who influenced you growing up? It could also even be a friend or a teacher. It can be a grandparent. It can be an auntie. It can be a neighbour in the neighbourhood. It can be someone that took you to the youth club and got you into sports as a kid. Like, it can be anything at all, but always just be aware that that can have a negative or a positive impact. And it's okay to accept it.
So what kind of, you know, what kind of experiences
Mhm.
would you say you've recognized or noticed the most around this question? And you listening at home,
Mhm.
you checking this out, you know, who influenced you? Who do you recognize? Oh my gosh, I'm just like my dad. Yeah, no, I'm just like my dad. Well, no, my mom would say that I'm doing that whole thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or you know, who have you modeled yourself on without realizing?
Yeah. So interesting.
And how is that adversely impacting
Mhm.
the health of your relationship?
Right.
Like, you know, how are we taking time to ask those questions?
That's massive. And is that really me? Or is it just the conditioning that I've had and the questions that I've always asked or the opinions that I've always asked? What do I actually really think now as a 20, 30, 40-year-old? What do I really think and believe that isn't what I've been told from my parents or my family growing up? So having those questions with yourself is really, really helpful. And this goes both ways, right? Our whole podcast is based on these questions. It's not me, it's you. It's about having that reflection time on yourself and your partner so you can move forward.
What are your love, apology, anger, and forgiveness languages?
Wow, that's a big one.
You could divide that into, you know, separate questions.
Absolutely, 100%. And, I can't speak for anyone else, but for me, I'd heard about the love languages only over the last few years when that kind of became more of a conversation that I was seeing online and things. But apology, anger, and forgiveness languages as well. It's all things that we need to be aware of because if you're not on the same page with your partner, how they maybe respond or react, you're going to maybe think that they might be dismissing you. They're not hearing what you're saying. They don't care about what you're hearing, what they're hearing or what they're saying. But it's not that. It's just that they process and receive and listen to information differently. They act differently in those areas.
Absolutely. All right. Rolling it back to the love languages, always have to try and make sure I remember each one, like acts of service, words of affirmation, gifts,
Yeah.
physical touch.
Physical touch, yeah.
What's the other one?
Physical.
It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
We'll put it all down.
We can put it all down.
We'll put it all down and you'll see it.
But yeah, there's 5.
But the point is exactly that. We have to know what our own languages are. And it's going to be a mix of all of that. But there's going to be one that's going to be most prominent. Like for me, say it's acts of service. And sometimes you may say that to your partner. Your partner says, well, what's your love language? Say acts of service. You think, what, you think I'm going to be running around after you and doing it? No, it's not that. It's not that. What it really is allowing, like when you recognize someone sees what you need in that moment and without you even having to communicate it, they recognize it and they support you.
Yeah.
That is so, for someone that likes acts of service, that is amazing because they feel you understand me so much, you're so connected, you get me so deeply. Before I even have to communicate it to you, you're there. And that, being able to communicate, that's your language.
Yeah.
And also to reciprocate and ask, what's yours? You start speaking, you start communicating. It's like me going to somewhere that only speaks French and I only know Mandarin. We're not going to, apart from a bit of sign language, it's going to be a bit disjointed. You're on the same page with how you communicate and recognizing how you receive information.
Yeah.
It's going to make such a difference.
Definitely. And then also, once you understand that, it will really make you feel more appreciated. Because if you keep buying gifts for your partner, because you like gifts, you like to receive gifts and you like to give gifts, but their love language isn't gifts, it is physical touch, and you're not a hugger, for example, then there's going to be a misalignment. So you're going to keep thinking that you're not appreciated and they're ungrateful because they're not receiving all their gifts with love. They're just thinking, I don't want your stupid gifts. I just need a hug. Please hold my hand when we're out walking together. Real simple things like that. And it all comes back down to compromise.
Absolutely. And you know what's powerful about that example is when you recognize it, it makes, as I said already, a world of difference. I've had a friend who was doing well financially and so on, had a great wife. They divorced. And I remember him saying, dude, I've been giving her flowers to the workplace every week. On her birthday, we go off on these, amazing holidays, boats and helicopter rides and all this. And she said I weren't doing enough for her. It's not that you weren't doing enough. You weren't doing what she felt she needed to feel loved.
Yes.
And so hers might have been just hug me more. When you come home from work, hug me and tell me that you love me. Or,
give me some positive words, like tell me I'm doing good, tell me like we're okay. It might be that that person is able to put, gifts and events and helicopters and throw money at that thing, which is nice if that is what the other person needs. But
Get to the chopper.
Exactly. But that's on a birthday. That's once a year. It might be an anniversary, it might be Christmas, it might be Valentine's. That's maybe 3-4 occasions in the year. Where are you the rest of the year? Because if you're working a lot or you're out with your friends or you've got other priorities and your priorities aren't the wife that doesn't want the gifts, but she wants you to be at home a bit more to spend time together because that's her love language, all the other stuff is just going to completely miss. It's going to miss the mark and you're just wasting your time.
And that rolls into the other ways we communicate.
Absolutely.
Our emotions, apology, anger. We were talking about this the other day.
Mm-hmm.
We've noticed that some people are different when they get angry. Some people, they're loud. I get angry, I'm loud. Like
Explosive.
I'm usually a chill dude. Like I'm chill, but you take it too far, the train's coming and it's a loud train. Some people
you ain't stopping that train.
Some people quiet, and they're the ones to watch out for.
Right.
Just quietly seething. You think, and the thing about it, there was a study somewhere that said about we people in relationships overestimate how well the relationship's doing by 30% or something. So someone could be chilling in the corner and you think, yeah, everything's fine. They're fine. And deep down, they're seething. They're like planning to just burn the house down when you go to bed.
Replaying things that happened 5 years ago.
Replaying in their minds. It's like, and you think, yeah, they're good. They're like, they're in a good mood. We're good.
And that's a great point because the amount of couples and even friends that we speak to, and we've all done it ourselves in relationships, but he's not apologizing. He's just acting like normal. But have you told that person what's really going on? Have you told them what's really angering you right now? He should know. She should know. It's obvious.
He should know.
I shouldn't have to say anything. It's obvious. Well, listen, this is, if you're dealing with men and women, this is something that you really need to just get over that. Do not assume anything. You need to be saying, listen, an hour ago, this thing happened. You are completely, unaware of it, but I need to talk about it. Or that thing 3 weeks ago, if you haven't raised it, you need to go back and revisit it. And just say it. Don't launch in because your partner might not even know what you're talking about. And then that can create an issue. But just say, listen, I've had something on my mind. Can we just go back? A couple of weeks ago, this thing happened and I thought I was over it, but actually it still keeps replaying. Can I just share where I'm at? And let's just go from there, because you're trying to diffuse things before they kick off. Because if that person gets their back up and you launch in saying, you did this thing 7 months ago, that's not going to start well. You just need to approach it in a bit more gentler fashion.
Absolutely. And you may think that you've apologized. So you got, here's a box of chocolates.
Right.
When the person wants you to look them in the eye, hold them and say, look, I'm deeply, sincerely sorry. And then ask them, what can I do to fix this? Some people are fine with a box of chocolates. All right, they're sorry, that's fine. No, what can I do to fix this? And then through your actions, show that, I heard and I'm doing something about it.
Yeah.
And people miss that also at times. I've noticed that massively. We've put together a short guide with 50 questions couples avoid.
Let us know which ones really resonate and how you get on with them.
Everyone's relationship and situation is different. So have fun using them as a guide for getting your questions answered in your relationship.
And remember to ask yourself the same questions too.